sometimes all it takes is one woman who will not put up with men's crap to turn everything on its head. So I want to tell you a personal story and why I do the work I do. So this is, I blocked out their faces for privacy's sake, but that's me and my goofy smile. This is when I worked in New Mexico in a ski area. This was the result of one woman named Naomi who changed everything, who made all of us realize we're being exploited by men. She was the whistleblower, and women like her are so important and have continued to teach me through example and through their own leadership how important it is for women who know that we're being exploited to continue to talk about it, even though it ruffles the feathers of men and the women who are accepting that abuse, myself included in this scenario. So, we worked at this restaurant. It was like lame and stupid. It was a ski area, and I just did it for, I didn't even ski anymore because I'd torn my ACL and had like $25,000 in debt trying to pay off that stupid surgery because my insurance screwed me over because it's the United States, blah, whatever. But, I followed the work as a seasonal worker. So I'd always go back to New Mexico in the summer and in the winter for work. Summertime is a raft guy. See, that's me in the summertime, rafting on this. And in the wintertime, I worked as a waitress because I couldn't ski anymore. And that's where all the jobs were. Now, I hated this waitressing job, but I was working with my best friend, Liz. And I was working with other cool women. It's basically women running this restaurant. And the restaurant was also connected to a bar upstairs that was like super popular, right? Like the place everyone went for like après-ski and whatever. Now, I didn't hate my male boss. I thought he was a little passive and a little bit of a bro. He was like cool and like nice enough. But what I didn't like about him was that he showed so much favoritism to the two other men who worked there. And this has been so common in restaurants that I've worked at. Whenever it's a male manager or a cool girl pick-me kind of manager that's a woman, they give preferential treatment to the men who are waiting tables. Not always, okay, but so often. And those men will also exploit women's labor in terms of they know that we will pick up after them. They know that we are so used to being exploited as daughters and sisters and wives and whatever that, we just don't even question getting it done when it needs to get done. And if they won't do it because they pretend that they just don't notice weaponizing competence at work, then they know we will do it. And so not only were the men just kind of lazy and slacking, they got the best shifts, which means they made more money. And then he would also like hang out with them after work and they'd have like drinks at the bar and stuff, which none of us he ever did that with. Why? Because he had a girlfriend and we liked his girlfriend, like the bro code, like favoritism stuff was so grossly obvious to all of us. And then his boss was in charge of like the bar upstairs. Now his boss, I was terrified of because he never smiled. He just seemed like a dick. He walked around and he was a very short man. This is why so many women do not like short men. It's not because we don't like short men. It's that short men hate us so often. Not all short men, okay? But this guy was such a jerk. And he walked around like a little Napoleon around work, like, I'm the boss. Anyway, this woman, Naomi, she came to town one day from the East Coast. She was like one of these like straight talking, direct. And me being like a little white girl from the South, I'm just like, like, I'm just not used to like direct confrontation. I'm used to like backstabbing and like passive aggressiveness and all those terrible things that I try not to do anymore. But direct conflict, no, it makes me so uncomfortable. And as a, survivor of a bunch of BS, I just learned early on that you walk on eggshells around people you're scared of, especially men, and you just take it and you pretend like everything's cool and you never say anything. And so a lot of us at this restaurant were like just sick of this crap, and the women who worked at the bar upstairs were just sick of it. But a lot of us, especially if we come from fathers who were selfish or alcoholics or abusive or narcissist or just like any kind of like fathers that did not teach us to value ourselves and our rights that much, it is just like normal for us to just accept men like menning, you know what I mean? But all it takes is one woman to come into a situation like that and being like, this sucks. Do you not realize this sucks? So for a whole season, I had no idea she was doing this. Naomi kept notes. She took detailed notes of every time those men were drinking with our boss after hours, every time she noticed they didn't do the side work that all the other women were doing, every single time that she noticed that like they weren't paying their bill when they're having a drink with the boss, she took notes, detailed notes. Every time she went upstairs to have her lunch break at the bar upstairs, she was watching the, little Napoleon too. She was taking notes about him. She was talking to the waitresses, and she found out that none of us liked these two dudes. And right before the season ended, she dropped a bomb. She went to the owners of this mountain with all this evidence and was like, you should probably look into this. Now, she knew she was never coming back. Seasonal workers are like that. A lot of times we return if we really like a place, but so many people just never come back. They're like, yeah, I spent, a winter in a ski town in Jackson Hole or Taos or, Mammoth or something. One and done, bye, that was fun, but you make terrible money, it's not worth it, blah. So she dropped her little bomb. So the last week of the season, we all got questioned. And my boss actually questioned me about his boss and what I saw happening with his boss. And I was like, I didn't really feel safe to rat anyone out. He was like, and have you ever felt favoritism? And I went into that trauma response, approval seeker, codependent, all the things mode. And I was like, well, it's not the best, but it's okay. And he got I said some stuff, but it was stupidly sugar-coated. Because I'm not going to tell my boss himself, I don't like the way that you show favoritism to these other dudes. It sucks. But also, because I wasn't used to a woman being like, no, I'm not taking this. This is ridiculous. I'm calling all you out and I'm getting all you in trouble because y'all suck at managing. I was not used to that. So I didn't even realize that anything could be done. And I think a lot of women who come from families and family systems or even, marriages and stuff where they just get walked all over by the men especially or by any parent, right? This is not always gendered this way, but just saying. This happens a lot under patriarchy for women dealing with men at work and at home because of power structures and whatever, all that stuff. And this is why I also talk about how people pleasers, cool girls, pick-me's, all of I have been one of them. We actually hold movements back. We hold other women back. We enable men to continue to harm because we don't even realize that we can say something. And that's one reason why white women are the weak link in the whole feminism thing, because so many of us are either not willing to or afraid or, just attached to power and access, want our men to love us so much that we will just put up with whatever so that they don't get mad at us. But just in general, so many women are not used to even questioning this until another person, a lot of times a woman comes in and is like, no, I'm not taking it. And I'm going to make sure something happens. And I was just like, oh, I wanted Naomi to just shut up. I wanted her to just, it's okay. And that's how I can be very dangerous. And that's why my personal healing is an important part of my activism. Right? Because I can learn all this stuff and believe all this stuff, but when it comes to challenging moments, if I haven't worked on myself and really sat with that discomfort of people being mad at me and all the things, I will sabotage anything that's good, even my own liberation. So at the very end of this weeks-long investigation, they found out that my boss and his boss had stolen so much money from the company. Not just from free drinks and free food, but little Napoleon had actually stolen money. Lots of money. So not only were these two men treating all of the women like crap, taking money out of our pockets through their preferential treatment for other men, and burdening us with more labor because they never held those men accountable for being slackers, but they literally were robbing the company itself. So house cleaning, baby. They fired him. They fired the big boss, Napoleon, and replaced it with two of the most amazing women I've ever met. So the next year, I went back to work there. I loved working for these women. For the first time ever, we also got Christmas Day off. Because when you work in ski towns, you never get Christmas off, usually. She was like, no one's coming in here on Christmas. Go be with your families. It's important. That was one of the best Christmases I've ever had. And from that moment on, I loved going to work. I felt so supported. I felt so safe. I felt so close to these women. We were like sisters. I felt respected by my bosses, heard. And there were a couple men that worked there. They absolutely did not get preferential treatment. So Naomi, girl, wherever you are, you started a little revolution and you changed my mindset.